30 years. Kevin Abrams essentially no longer will be with the organization. John Harbaugh coming in and not standing for the status quo. He is shaking up that organization, and you're going to continue to see more changes made across the organization, including to the training staff. He's going to bring in his own training staff there to revamp things in New York.
Look, I mean, I never celebrate anyone losing their jobs, but I think it was time for a complete reset with the Giants, and he seems like the kind of person who could do it. I want to sell you two guys on something. I brought this up 2 days ago. We did a little note on it yesterday. Look at the Patriots. Look at the turnaround they've had. They had a really good-looking young quarterback who had played one season where he had some ups and some downs. They had some other talent. They went out and they hired an established veteran coach who knew about winning, and here they are in the championship game. The Giants hired John Harbaugh. They got some pretty good talent. And could you put up the numbers on Jackson Dart's rookie season and Drake May's rookie season? Those are eerily similar. Dart's numbers and May's numbers as rookies are stunningly identical. If anything, Dart's are slightly better. So that leads me to ask the question, could the New York Giants be next year's New England Patriots?
New England's playing for the AFC Championship game on Sunday. I'm not ready to say that they can make that type of leap, but I do believe that they can be a playoff football team, Greeny. I've said this. Now, one of the reasons why, or parts of the reasons why New England is they got Josh McDaniels. He's one of the best play callers in the last 20 years in the NFL. So can John Harbaugh bring in a person like that for Jackson Dart? Two, they brought in Stephon Diggs, and Steph has been unbelievable for Drake May. Now, Malik Neighbors is sensational, but Steph's veteran and presence and the experience, I think, has paid off. So if you can get those two, at least parts there, yeah, I think you're going to see a huge jump from Jackson Dart. And I do believe that this team in New York is closer to relevancy than the public perception.
I don't disagree. I think because you have Harbaugh, you give yourself that opportunity. And even the moves that he's made, it's him fixing the organizational structure. That was the question that, when he first was hired, we talked about last week. Like, what is that structure going to be like? Because if it stays as is, I'm skeptical of it. Well, now you bring Harbaugh in and you allow him to do the thing that he's great at, which is bringing order and process to the organization, which will allow you to get the most out of that very talented, young, inexperienced, but talented roster.
This is why it took them as long as it did to work out the contract, because he wanted to have the control to do whatever he wanted, because he recognized and believed that this organization had been in disrepair and it was time to turn it over. Yeah. That's what he's doing right now.
Okay, so we'll see who he gets as his offensive coordinator. That's obviously a big one. Back to running the hurry up. Shefty, we've got a situation and have you a million places to go with you, but let's start right there with your former team and obviously the recipe. They've drafted a quarterback from Ole Miss with a veteran established coach who knew something about winning, and we just showed before you got in here, the highlights of you winning those Super Bowls. What is your sense of Jackson Dart now with John Harbaugh as his coach?
Well, I think it's a great situation, and Jackson Dart, I think, had a great first year, and he has that ability. I would say he can throw the ball on time and get it out there. He has the ability to run with his feet. He can scramble and make plays. He can extend plays in the pocket. As a defense, that's hard to defend. He can win a lot of different ways. I would say the number one thing, he's got to learn to be available every week, and he takes some hits, and that's just something, being young and understanding, hey, these guys are big in the NFL, and the hits are a little bit bigger, and so you got to learn to when to slide, when to take the hits and do those things. But I think with bringing in Coach Harbaugh, a guy he's been successful. He's been in the league. He knows how to handle the New York media. There's going to be no situation that's new to him or too big for him, and this bringing that belief that, hey, we can win here and we can do it, and having these young players step into that role of being leaders of this team and creating a great culture. I'm excited about the future of the Giants.
I'm curious about that, the available piece, because that was a huge topic here and everywhere. Was all the hits that he takes and he's just trying to get extra yards and all that kind of stuff, and the idea. We were struck by how he kept saying afterwards, well, this is just the way I play. Right. This is the way I play. So how does someone get through to him? And we'll show some of the hits, that he takes over the season. Like, I would have thought like someone like you, or someone like that. Who is it that can get through to him and say, listen, this moment here, we can't be doing this stuff on the sideline? Like, who and how does that message get through?
Well, I think that comes from the head coach, and it comes from the offensive coordinator, and you have a whole off season to watch some of these clips and make adjustments. And last year he wasn't worried about that. The coaches weren't worried about that necessarily. Now they say, hey, this is happening. You've played, half a season. You've taken hits. You've been in the protocol. You've missed games. We got to find ways to slide, and you got to teach that, and you got to rep that, and you just got to come in and practice and just make sure that's a thought. And obviously you see a Josh Allen, he doesn't slide much, and he runs and he makes plays, and there are moments, and you want to keep that aggressiveness, you want to keep that playmaking ability, and just kind of dial it down in certain situations. Hey, it's the first quarter, and you got the first down, slide. Hey, you're at the sideline, go out of bounds. So there's those things, those hits add up, and it's just eliminating a few of them.
One of the stories that came out over the last couple of days was that Harbaugh is sitting there in Maryland, and Tom Coughlin got on the phone with Chris Mara and said, get on your horse and go meet with him. Said, well, I don't really know him. No, go down there and go knock on his door and go have a meeting with him. To hear that Coach Coughlin is still involved in this process, a lot of Giants fans felt warm about that. What was your reaction to that story?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like Coach Coughlin, and I think that's what you want. And Coach Coughlin was accountable, and you knew you were getting the same Coach Coughlin every single day, and he treated not just the players, but everybody in the organization the same. And you weren't walking around on eggshells, but you knew you had to do your job, or Coach Coughlin was going to let you know. You're going to hear about it from him, and that's what you need. That's what you need from a veteran head coach, and I think that's what John Harbaugh will bring with everybody. Hey, we got to step it up a notch. We got to be held accountable from the players, from the people in the film room, the equipment room, the training staff. Everybody held accountable to a higher standard to bring this organization back.
Let's dive into a few things around.
We ended the San Francisco career of Brandon Ayuk yesterday, saying that he will not be back with the team. The only question now is, do they trade him? Do they release him? And I would think that they'll find a trade partner with all the teams in the league that need wide receiver help. I'm sure they'll have to eat some of the contract, but Brandon Ayuk, that whole drama from a couple of summers ago, that turned out to be one of the worst contracts in franchise history. They'll move on from it this offseason. He has played his last snap for the 49ers.
Okay, so that's obviously a terrible situation. Let's move on to the last one, because I think this is maybe the most interesting. The Steelers.
Give me 190 plus passing yards. I get it. He's a backup quarterback. He hasn't had any action. And when you're going against this defense, there will be opportunities for them over the middle of the field. Why? Because Bo Nix hasn't typically tested that area of the field, so I look at that as an opportunity, and I think Jarrett Stidham plays a lot better than people expect.
All right, and you're a receiver. Give me a prop for one of the receivers.
This is one I feel the most confident about. It's Kayshon Boutte for 3 receptions or more. I think Patrick Surtain is going to shadow Stephon Diggs, which leaves a Boutte and Riley Moss matchup. And I think he is going to go off. He's best in contested catch scenarios. They're going to test him, and he's going to come up big.
All right, so we recap. It's Drake May with 30 or more rushing yards. Jarrett Stidham, 190 or more passing yards. Kayshon Boutte, 3+ receptions. If you like those picks, they're a parlay now on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Look for the Hitting the Mark featured parlay priced at +400.